I wanted to tell you what marriage meant to me. It's kind of crazy. We lived together for 40 years. We were engaged with the circle diamond pin because I wouldn't wear a ring because I was still in the closet. Okay. I am today an out lesbian, okay, who just sued the United States of America, which is kind of overwhelming for me. When my beautiful, sparkling Thea died 4 years ago, I was overcome with grief. Within a month, I was hospitalized with a heart attack, and that's kind of common. It's usually looked at as broken heart syndrome. In the midst of my grief, I realized that the federal government was treating us as strangers, and I paid a humongous estate tax. And it meant selling a lot of stuff to do it, and it wasn't easy. I live on a fixed income, and it wasn't easy. Many people ask me, why get married? I was 77, he was 75, okay? And maybe we were older than that at that point. But the fact is that everybody treated it as different. It turns out marriage is different, okay? And I've asked a number of long-range couples, gay couples, who then got married. I've asked them, you know, was it different the next morning? And the answer is always yes. It's a huge difference. When our marriage appeared in the New York Times, we heard from literally hundreds of people. I mean, little playmates and schoolmates and colleagues and friends and relatives, all congratulating us and sending love because we were married. So it's a magic word. For anybody who doesn't understand why we want it and why we need it, okay, it is magic. What I guess the other thing I would have said is we did win in the lower courts. This today is like a spectacular event for me. I mean, it's a lifetime kind of event. And I know that the spirit of my late spouse, the Aspire, okay, is right here watching and listening and would be very proud and happy of where we've come to. Thank you all.
Edie, what was going through your mind?
I felt very serious. Okay. And listening carefully. I had things on. I'm halfway deaf. But I had things on, so I heard every word, and I really paid attention.
Edie, how do you think it went in there?
What?
How do you think it went?
I can't hear you now.
How do you think it went?
How did it go?
I'm not hearing. Oh,
How did it go?
I think it was great. I think it went beautifully. I thought the justices were gentle, if that's the word I want. Okay, they were direct, they asked all the right questions, but I felt that, no, I didn't feel any hostility, okay, or any sense of inferiority, you know, what do these people want? I mean, I felt we were very respected, and I think it's going to be good.
Ms. Kaplan, how did you feel in there, and especially about Chief Justice Roberts, some of his questions about political power?
Yeah, well, as always, I think the justice asked all the questions we expected them to ask, and we had good answers, and I'm going to adopt my client's question. I think it was good.
You guys will write down the law?
And I see my cousins.
Again, we are very hopeful that they are. I'm not in the business of predicting what any particular justice will do, but we are very hopeful that they will affirm the decisions of the courts below.
What stand out to you while you were in there that give you that sense of optimism?
I think all the arguments stood out there for me and gave me a sense, as I said before, as Edie put it, that it went well, that it was good.
What do you make about the justices and their questioning about jurisdiction? Not to you, of course, but in the earlier part.
Yeah, well, as you probably know, the court added those questions to the case. They're very serious, very technical questions. I think the questioning on that went as one would expect, and it will up to be the court about how they're going to resolve those technical questions. But again, we feel confident that they will resolve the merits of the case. And even if they don't, I think everyone now agrees that Edie Windsor gets her money back from the federal government.
You mentioned the House Republican report that when a law was passed. How much sway do you think that's going to have in the justices deliberations?
I think the reasons why this law was passed will have a lot of influence on the court, as it has below. This was an incredibly unusual statute. It's not within our constitutional tradition to enact laws like DOMA, so I think that will have an influence on the court.
The court was skeptical to get into this debate.
I did not have that sense today at all. I think the court realizes that it has an obligation to decide the constitutionality of federal statutes, and that's what it intends to do here.
Chief Justice seems to be at a loss to understand or explain the change in views, opinions nationwide. Could you address that? Why have more people come around, to acceptance on this issue?
Edie wants to answer that. Go ahead.
I think what happened is, at some point, somebody came out and said, I'm gay, and which gave a couple more people, the guts to do it. And we all lived really behind masks and in closets, indeed. So what happened is as we increasingly came out, people saw that we didn't have horns. People learned that, we were their kids and their cousins and their friends, all of whom were coming out for the first time. And I think it just grew to where we were human beings like everybody else. And I really think that's what made the change, okay? I mean, you guys, I'm talking to you freely. I'd have been hiding in a closet 10 years ago.
What does it feel like to be here? Can you believe that you're here?
Pardon
How do you
me?
feel about being here?
Thrilled and exalted and humble. Very humble. It's great.
And Bear, and we don't want to have to wait for the audio transcript. Can you
I didn't memorize everything that was said. I'm sorry.
basics of what you're saying why this needs to be strict down?
Yeah, the basics are, as I said before, that DOMA is an extremely unusual statute. It cuts across all of federal law. It affects 1,100 different federal programs, from notification of the death of a spouse when someone dies. What it means is that the spouse can't properly be notified and they can't even get the flag on the coffin. It means that gay married couples don't get the benefits of Family Federal Medical Leave Act when they need it. And it means that someone like Edie Windsor had to pay a $363,000 estate tax bill just by virtue of the fact that her spouse happened to be gay, and that she happens to be gay. That's unconstitutional. It's unconstitutional no matter what the standard is that's applied, and we're very hopeful that the court will agree.
That the justices seem to be accepting gay marriage as a fact is more of a matter of how rather than if.
I don't think I was surprised because marriage for gay people is a fact. It's a fact in 9 states already. It's likely that it will be a fact in other states as time progresses. And so I don't think there was anything unusual about the justices in the court understanding that that is the facts on the ground today, and it should be the facts on the ground today. Excuse me for all the people who live in the District of Columbia. I'm a New Yorker, so I can't help myself.
Justice Ginsburg's points about the unequal nature of marriage. I mean, that seemed like one of the most emotional moments in there.
Yes, I think the court can't help but be affected by the way that this statute writes gay people and gay married couples out of the federal code. It's not just one statute, it's not one program, it's a redefinition of singling out, fencing off couples who are already married under federal law solely because they're gay. And I think the justices are acutely aware of that.
You're talking about the pin you're wearing.
Can I talk about what?
The pin you're wearing.
Brooch. Okay. In 1967, Thea, first of all, we were driving in a car, and she said, what would you do if you became engaged? And I worked with a bunch of people that I loved. We all loved each other. We went out together a lot. I never told the truth, okay? I never told the truth till 5 years ago when I finally told the truth. But so Thea said to me, well, what would you do, though, if you wanted to be engaged and you wore an engagement ring to work? And, what would people say? I said they would want to know who is he and where is he and when do we meet him. So instead she gave me this pin, which is a circle of diamonds, okay, instead of a diamond ring. And, okay, that's my pin. I'll tell you, I'm going to try to excuse myself if everybody won't be mad at me. There are a lot of people there who came to see me, and I just want to go see them. Okay.